Happy Wednesday, and it's time for Wisdom Wednesday, and welcome back, and we will go ahead and jump into our Bible verse.
Yes, so if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him.
Love that.
It's one of my favorites, James 1:5. So in that same breath, what are some things that you wish you knew before you bought your first house? I've got 6 of them. Lord, if we knew these things back when Scott and I bought our first house, our lives would be a little bit probably easier nowadays.
Exactly,
so
for
here's
sure.
some wisdom for you. Number 1, you can turn it into an investment property after living in it for only 1 year. That is huge. So that is the only time in the mortgage world that I'm allowed to count future income is when you flip your primary to an investment. So as long as you're making at least what your mortgage payment is on the monthly rental income, we can just wipe that clean like you don't have that mortgage, and you can go buy another house. So it's stinking genius.
That is.
And you can cash flow that sucker and pay it off early, and then really cash flow it and leave that to your children. Like, it's just a really, really awesome idea. So,
well, then kind of going into the next one is that your first house is not your forever home.
Amen.
And I just had the conversation with one of my sweet neighbors I watched grow up, and she, called me, and she got a job and out of town, and she's like, I know I'm gonna be here for at least 3 years. Should I buy a house? I'm like, yes, absolutely. And so we talked for a long time, and I'm like, just remember, it's not your forever home.
Yeah.
And in the 3 years, if the time comes and you're able to move, then you have this option to turn it into investment.
That's right.
Or to sell it and make money, because you're going to make money on that. But if you know,
That's right.
So I'm like, just don't be looking for everything you want.
You're not going to start where your parents are now if you're 25.
So just remember, not your forever home.
And this one, I feel like I should not have to say this, but I get calls at least once or twice a week with somebody that still thinks you have to put 20% down.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's programs with 0% down, y'all, and we have awesome options in-house that we can do for 0% down. So talk to me about that if you think you've got to save all that money.
That's crazy. And the other one is to shop around, to find, like we've said before, is have a really good team behind you. And I think we're pretty special. But, it's not just about the transaction, but do shop around. You talk to different agents, talk to lenders, and it's more about not just the cost, but the relationship. Are they going to communicate with you? Are they just going to be honest? I'm not going to sell you something that I don't think's right for you, and if
y'all, you would think that's just common, but it's not.
It's not,
it's like truly.
Right. A lot of people's like, they just want to close the deal. And, I'm going to just be straight up and be like, well, think about these things before you make a decision. Obviously, it's your decision, but I'm going to try to give you things to think about. So definitely shop around and ask all the right questions.
Yeah. And we touched on it already, but there's $0 down payment loan options. So let's definitely talk about that. If you're worried about the cash up front, we probably have a workaround.
Right. That's good to know. And then the last is you can over improve a home in the neighborhood. And like I tell people, they'll call like, well, should I improve this and how much? If you live in, a standard neighborhood and everybody's got, granite countertops, don't go put marble countertops unless you want it. But understand that you're not going to get your money back on that.
Right.
So do what you want, but still look at the neighborhood and see, is it going to make sense? Are you going to get your money back? Or if you're like, I just like marble and I'm going to spend this money and I don't care what it costs and I can't, you're not going to get that back in a neighborhood that's full of granite. So you just have to keep it in mind and just, again.
Common sense questions, but when you're in the heat of it and, like everybody else in the neighborhood has one thing or the other, or if you just really think you need a pool or whatever, we'll get caught up in those things. So definitely you can over improve. So think through that.
Absolutely. And then, and just know that's another thing when you go back to look at, contacting a lender and an agent is we're here forever. It's like I told somebody as we're closing, I'm like, guess what? You're stuck with me for life. You're going to hear from me through note cards, through letters. So we're always here. If you just have a question, whether it's going to produce a deal or not, we just want to be a go-to for you.
That's right.
Anyway, keep those in mind. And if there's any other questions you could think of, comment. I'd love to know what they are.
Yes, guys. Have a great day.